Problems at work, absolutely. Problems with your boss, problems with difficult coworkers, too much work, not enough time, too much work, not enough money, and particularly in this economy, employers really have the upper hand. Because if you don't want to do the job, right, you say goodbye, well, they've got 80 other people behind you because everybody's looking for work. Problem with aging parents. Now, this could be health problems, or it just could be difficulty, personality issues. I have my in-laws that live not too far from me in Delray Beach, and they're lovely people. But at times, they could be a bit difficult to deal with. In fact, I don't know if I've told some of you, I'm going to be actually doing a road trip, the whole family. It's them, my wife, my son. Going to go all get into a car, a van. For 7 days, travel up to the Carolinas, South, North Carolina, Virginia Beach. I'm hoping that we're still talking at the end of the 7 days. Because it's going to be rough. But, you know, problems with parents. My own mom, she lives in Connecticut. And we have a great relationship. She comes down for about a week, around day number 4 or 5. I'm kind of ready for her to go. I don't tell her that because I'm a good son, but I'm ready for her to go. Frequent or excessive noise. That's an odd one to have. I don't know why they had that in there. I don't know where that would be, if that's in a noisy city, or if that's just in a noisy environment. I don't know, but is that something that seems to be an issue? Mrs. James, is it Linda, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim needs the radio on all the time.
Okay.
I mean, he can't go anywhere without some kind of...
And she uses the TV on to sleep. And I wish at times I was living in a monastery. They really do all.
Wait a minute, maybe I should have said problems with spouses.
There you go.
Yes. Problems with children. I certainly am going through my own deal with my son. I love him, he's great, but I found out today, literally a half hour before I had to leave, the boo-boo he had on his finger, which occurred Wednesday afternoon, out of my presence. We were in the house, but I didn't see it. He just came out and was bleeding, so we took care of it. The boo-boo that he told me was because of an accident when he was playing with something actually turns out to be that it's the hamster that we're house sitting for 2 weeks. And I said to him, why didn't you tell me that it's the hamster that bit you? And he thought, well, because I was going to get into trouble. He said, I thought you were going to get angry. I go, and I tried to explain to him with a 6-year-old mind that you can't mess with that. You think about rabies, you think about anything like that. So while I'm working here today, Mommy is going to the pediatrician just to make sure he's okay. Right. Problems with children. Trouble sleeping, which is really weird. Trouble sleeping causes stress, and apparently the more trouble sleeping you have, the more stress you have about it. The lack of confidence that you have that your body will fall asleep apparently can cause stress. I don't have that issue, fortunately. I don't know if some of you do. But that then can lead you, bless you, that can then lead you into a cascade of different chemical changes in the body, including high levels of cortisol throughout the day, which fries your brain, makes you fat. High levels of adrenaline, which makes you look like you're on speed. The inability to concentrate, the inability to focus, the inability to enjoy life because of these hormones that keep fluctuating up and down. Not to mention the raise in insulin, the raise in sugar, the drop in insulin, the drop in sugar. All these things can come from the inability to sleep well at night. Some common sleep issues. Insomnia. We talked a little bit about this the other day, actually. Insomnia affects 30 million Americans. So this is just in America. And apparently, it affects more women than it does men. So once again, ladies, you get the short end of the stick. You know, I don't know what it is. When I talk about the, when I do a depression lecture about depression, it's always women more depressed than men. In this case, women tend to have more sleep issues than men. Now, when it comes to sleep apnea, we men apparently have a little edge on the ladies. 18 million Americans, both men and women, have this issue, but it seems to affect more men than women. And 50% of the cases, actually it's more than half of the cases of sleep apnea, it affects individuals over the age of 40. I'm not sure what age has to do with it, other than maybe we're a bit heavier after 40 than we were in our 20s. A lot of the time, sleep apnea is connected to extra weight on the body. If we have, as silly as this may sound, if we have a fat neck and we're laying back, sleeping on our back, it tends to push up against the throat, cuts off the air supply. You hear a lot of snoring if you're the spouse sitting, sleeping in the bed next to them, to the individual. And the issue with sleep apnea is that you literally can stop breathing for seconds to up to a minute at a time. Because you block the airway, your body does not get any oxygen, and as a result can cause atrial fibrillation, the speeding up and slowing down, the irregular heartbeats that occur. Atrial fib can then cause heart attacks. We talked about, was it Reggie Smith, I think we mentioned, yes, on Wednesday. Reggie Smith was a husky, very fit defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. He's Hall of Famer. Very religious, very pious, just a really good guy, never abused his body. And a few years after he retired, in the prime of his life, with several kids and a beautiful, gorgeous wife, a couple of days after Christmas, he suffered from sleep apnea, and he had a heart attack in his sleep, and it was attributed to his sleep apnea. So it is an issue for a lot of Americans, unfortunately, and it's not an issue that can easily be corrected. Some people buy these mouth guards where it alters the way their mouth is or aligns when you sleep, so that if you are on your back, you can still breathe. Some people just make sure that they're always sleeping on their side. Some people try and lose weight, which is always a good idea. The stats on these common sleep issues, 50%, it seems to affect 50% of those that are age 65 and older. Now that isn't to say that a 25-year-old doesn't have sleep issues, sleep apnea or insomnia, just that it seems to affect the older set. Also, pregnancy and menopause for women is a huge issue. Women who are pregnant or in the throes of pregnancy or in the throes of menopause tend to have more of these issues, particularly the insomnia. It has to do with hormones that are fluctuating. It has to do with, in the case of menopause, hot flashes, cortisol levels being released. And as you see there under the note, it says 70 million Americans suffer from disorders of sleep and or wakefulness. Now, if you can imagine that you're expected to get up, in the morning, whatever time